Hi, guys. Welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about students here in America and how they're struggling. According to teachers, they're struggling with their reading skills, with their math skills, and apparently they have absolutely no attention spans. Some people might say it's because of TikTok, but let's find out.
Okay, y'all, so I just saw a news clip and it was saying that 43% of Texas fourth graders can't read at a basic level, so they're not reading at grade level. I have a second grader, and my child has to read 30 minutes after school every day. Before she gets her iPad, before she plays, she comes in the house and we do 30 minutes of reading every day. And she's only allowed to play educational games or watch PBS Kids. So she does PBS Kids or she does Khan Kid Academy or Moose Math. She doesn't really like Moose Math. Also, that math is very basic. But she doesn't like that. But that's what she does in the week. And every so often I will let her watch like Disney Plus or something like that. And she can watch Disney Plus and Netflix and all that on the weekend. But through the week, she does that 30 minutes of reading. And my baby can read. And I did not like when she was in kindergarten. Like back in my day, we did, hooked on phonics. We sounded things out. And when she was in kindergarten and first grade, they were doing sight words. I wasn't really a fan of sight words because I really believe you have to be able to sound things out. But they've changed that now. They have started like sounding things out because that's my nephew's in kindergarten now. But as a parent, even though I be tired and I really don't be wanting to be involved sometimes as a parent, it's not just up to the teachers. I know a lot of y'all think that those teachers are not babysitters. They can't force feed your children the knowledge. My child's teachers, they call me. Like if my child isn't doing her work, I get a call in the middle of the day saying, "Hey, Ray doesn't want to do her homework," or well, not homework, but classwork. And I talk to her on the phone, and she gets her act together most of the time.
It's so interesting because I feel like when I was growing up, all parents did what she's talking about, where they would say, hey, time to do some homework, turn off the TV, put the toys away, you need to focus, go ahead and read these books, right? I remember in first grade, we had to read like 100 books to get the trophy. Did any of you guys have that competition at your school where if you read 100 books in first and second grade, you got a trophy? Nowadays, apparently the kids aren't very good at reading and their parents don't feel like going over it with them. But back in the day, a lot of parents were like this young lady. Okay, so in order for us to get an idea of how far behind we are from the other countries, we got to kind of see how smart the kids in the other countries are. So let's check this out together.
Hello? No, it's on me! No, it's not.
Canada.
On break. And then it should go. How do we know this is right? I know it. I'm
That's
not
not
a big
German.
fan, but I don't know any African countries. I don't know any countries, period. Fuck. I don't know. What is it? I'm asking you. It's a rolling. Yeah? Maybe take a glass though. Ireland.
Ghana. Nigeria.
I think it is. Ow, another. Should be.
I'm not sure what that is. Probably Chile or the Congo. So anyway, you can see that these kids in other countries tend to like these games where they're using their brain. Now let's return back to America and back to reality.
I mean, there are other things that you can do besides technology because I don't think people realize what it's doing to their brains because it's these flickering images. Like when you're in the real world, vision is connected to hearing, to taste, to everything. When you're just looking at a screen, that's the only sense that's being stimulated, but it's being way overstimulated, which
That's interesting because if you go to somebody in our age group, right, their 40s and 50s, they might smell cookies and remember that first date they had with somebody because we used to be more sociable. We would go out, we would hear their voice, we would connect it with their face. We would remember things like, the smell of the perfume that we were spraying as we went through Robinsons or through Dillard's, right? You remember how you'd spray the perfumes or the colognes, right? Those things really probably do matter. I feel like the kids are missing out on that because even when you go out, I feel like people are just not sociable. And that kind of leads to situations like we have now where the kids are so disconnected.
I had a student come and pick out a book, and he was kind of like, whatever. And then he stopped by after school, and he said, he was like holding the book up, and he was like, I like really want to read this. And I was like, oh yeah, well, you're gonna get to read it. Like, blah, blah, we're gonna have 15 minutes and read blah, blah, blah. And he goes, no, I want to really read it. Like, I want to be able to really read it. And I knew exactly what he was talking about.
Oh my God, is this kid hitting on her? He's throwing the Rico Suave on his teacher, and his teacher actually thinks he wants to read. It's his way of saying he wants to hang out with you after school. You need to tell this kid he's far too young.
He's just been compensating. He doesn't actually feel like he knows how to read. And so
Okay, or that.
this is
It
something
could
that
be
I'm
that.
seeing more and more in the upper middle grades, and I know high school teachers are seeing it also. But just the amount of students that make it to eighth grade, reading on like a first or second grade reading level, has just increased every single year. And obviously, COVID has exacerbated that also. Now we can argue all day about why that is. I know that there's like the Soul to Story podcast, like the Science of Reading. There's all these different reading wars or whatever, and I'm not a part of that. Okay, no one is giving me any kind of direction on what to do, but I feel like I need something, right? And so over the summer, I had asked the librarian to pick up this book for me, When Kids Can't Read, What Teachers Can Do, because it's by my favorite person, Kylene Beers, who I just love all her strategies, and they work for me. So I'm going to be doing like a little book study on this with my some of the teachers in my department, and I was thinking if anybody else wants to pick up the book, I know it's on Amazon, or maybe you have it in your professional library, then I'm going to make more videos like working through and trying some of her new strategies.
So I'm always a big fan of strategies, right? You might hear a strategy, implement it, and get some fantastic results. The thing that scares me is I feel like teachers, you guys went to college and the university, I assume to learn some of these strategies and be able to apply them and get something more out of your students. I'm just disappointed that it seems like there's such a disconnect. Also, I feel like teachers teach things a little weirdly nowadays. I think the best way to learn how to read is one sentence at a time, and then after a paragraph or two, ask yourself, does this make sense? And if you don't even know what you read, because that's what happens with poor readers, right? They read a paragraph and they're like, what the heck did I just read? I don't know. Well, go ahead and read it again, Johnny. And let's read it until you can figure it out. And if you can't, then we're going to stay on this page for a while until you can. I think that that's the best way to make it work. And there was always that kid in the back of the classroom that they read super slowly, and you feel bad for that kid because it's probably embarrassing for them. But look what it did for the other kids in class. They didn't want to be that slow ass reader. And so they actually tried to focus more. We need to start expecting more out of the kids, expecting more out of the parents, and expecting more out of the teachers. I feel like there's a disconnect from all three parts. Okay, so check this out. I always looked at subtraction completely different. I felt like I memorized a lot of my addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division tables, but apparently people learn this way now. This seems odd to me.
My student was having some challenges with subtraction. When it comes to regrouping, students can confuse, am I really adding 10? Am I adding 1? What's going on here? So we took out our base 10 blocks and we began to manipulate the number. He was able to physically see that when I take away that 10, I'm really regrouping it by adding it to the ones place. So I'm adding 10 individual ones. So he sees he's not adding a 1, he's adding 10 to that ones place. So by the end of the session, he was able to correctly solve the original problem. So this really helped him a lot. I encourage you to help students visualize the math.
See, I feel like when you add a bunch of steps, it makes it challenging. I was always told that when you look in that first column, if the number on top if you can't subtract the bottom number from it, you have to borrow from the tens column, right? So you scratch out that 4, you put a 3, and you make that 1 an 11. 11 minus 9 is 2, 3 minus 1 is 2. Your answer is 22. And then you slowly but surely memorize some of these things. Again, we used to have outstanding memories. I think the problem is the cell phone. We've lost our ability to memorize things.
So no, this is just negligence to me to say that teachers have no like accountability in the system, and the reason why kids are moving up whenever they can't read on grade level. No, part of our thing, if they can't read and they can't read on grade level, they should not be passing that grade.
Amen. Amen. That goes back to what I was saying. She's saying if you can't read, you don't get to pass the grade. I'm saying if you can't read the paragraph and comprehend what you just read, you need to read the paragraph again. What I'm saying is a micro to her macro. We need to challenge kids. Hey, if this 5-page chapter takes you all day, we're going to do it together until you get a little stronger at it. I mean, I don't know how to teach. I'm not a teacher. I don't want to come across like that. But this passing people that don't deserve to pass or haven't passed, it's going to hurt the kids. You got to stop that.
If they cannot read on grade level, now pause. There's special instances like 504s or I think 504s, IEPs, all of those things. Okay, there's
Those are special education. So IEPs, individual education plan.
special accommodations can be made with that. But if they don't have those accommodations and we're passing them irregardless and they don't understand the concepts, that's an issue. And the reason why some of these kids are getting passed is because we have teachers padding the grade books. They're putting in 50s so that the kids are just passing enough so that they can go on to the next grade level.
I love what she's saying, but she said irregardless, and I don't think that's a real word. Do you agree with me? It's regardless. There is no such word as irregardless. Let me know your thoughts down below. But I do love what she says. Take out the nose ring, lady. Okay, so this is another way that they're teaching subtraction. Would you ever think of learning how to subtract based on this method here? This seems really bizarre to me.
So basically, a lot of kids, when they're doing subtraction, they have the idea of takeaway, and that's
Right.
all they think about for subtraction. But here's another reason we subtract. We compare numbers. We get differences. Look
Right.
at these examples. So we're basically comparing amounts. We might say how much older is Steve than Sue, or how much heavier is box A than box B, or how much colder is it in North Carolina than it is in Florida. So when you're teaching or talking about subtracting, do not call the symbol takeaway, because that's not all you do to subtract. You can compare numbers as well.
So I love what she's saying, but I feel like that's going to confuse kids. She literally was saying, "Hey, you use subtraction technically to compare. If somebody weighs more than you weigh less, right? Let's find the comparison and the difference, right?" But it just seemed weird. I've never seen anybody in my life teach math with a bunch of words. I've never seen that before. That just blew me away, but there is some genius to it. I like it
regards to
from
the
an
argument
adult
about
point of
we just
view.
need
I like it from an adult point of view.
not a single student can read at grade level in 30 Illinois schools. Here's what I think is extra telling in regards to the argument about we just need more funding in our public schools. The average spend per student across the US is about $15,000. If you look at this list, nearly every single one of these schools is spending over that, if not way over that per student. Help me understand, what am I missing here? Because this is why I'm gonna homeschool.
There's an old saying in this part of the country, and it goes like this: I can't read.
I think we got to get rid of the cell phones. If you don't have the cell phones, right? If you don't have this distraction and you're focused, it's amazing how much more productive you can be. I work from home. If I'm watching a lot of stuff on my cell phone while working, it really does hurt production. If I put the cell phone away, I can actually get more done. We don't like to admit that out loud because then our employer will find a way to get that cell phone away from us. But if we were to be intellectually honest, you can do so much more when you take away when you take away the distraction. Now someone's going to say, "Jesse, this makes your video where you're concerned seem silly because you're laughing." But I want you to think about this. You're a student that's learning how to read, and when they get to Johnny and he stutters and can't read, all of a sudden the people in the class start to giggle. That makes you not want to be I can't read Johnny. You don't want to be I can't read Johnny. You want to be I can read Bill or Susie or Daryl, right? Get used to reading. We should let the kids know that if you can't read, people might laugh at you. People might call you silly or dumb when you get out in the real world. You have to be able to read. Put the phone away and pull out that damn book.
Not all of the kids can't read. I won't argue with the fact that some of even my students are at an academic deficit. And one of the reasons why I believe that that academic gap exists is because of class sizes. Our class sizes are integral in us being able to provide quality academic instruction to our students. So I teach second grade. I just got my 27th scholar last week. I don't even have a desk for little buddy. Like, I've been calling the secretary. I've been talking to the school engineer. Like, can we get a desk? Like, where is he supposed to sit? And I have no educational assistant in my classroom. So I am doing this all by myself.
Okay, so here's my problem with her thinking. When I was growing up, we routinely had class sizes that were anywhere from 25 to 30 students. Our teacher was alone. She did not have an assistant. And we were all able to learn how to read by second grade, most of us. We were able to learn really nice cursive by third grade. By fourth grade, we were learning multiplication and division. And it was something that we could all do. And yes, we still had the kids that struggled in reading, math, arithmetic, writing, the whole 9 yards, right? But we were able to do it. Is she trying to tell me that it's impossible to teach a classroom of 27 students? Well, maybe I'm looking at this wrong. Maybe it's impossible nowadays because the caliber of student isn't what it used to be. We were under the impression that if we didn't listen to the teacher, our mom and dad was going to be mad, and we might have to go down to the principal's office. Apparently now the kids aren't really fearful because there's no discipline applied.
How many parents are out there right now with first graders and second graders and even third graders that are not reading very well? And they sometimes are told, don't worry, that they'll catch up. But that's not true. The research shows if they're struggling in first grade, they continue to struggle throughout their. But here's the good news. Don't despair. We know what we can do to help children, and the younger you help them, the easier it is for their brain to develop the neural pathways that have to be developed in order for reading to happen. Go get that sound chart that's on weshallread.org. Jump over to Brain Friendly Reading, the YouTube channel, and start tapping that chart with the child. You don't have to know anything. You just have to be able to print the chart and jump on YouTube and watch the video, the call and response video. And if you'll do that, your child who's struggling in first grade will start to learn those letter sound connect.
Here's what I don't understand. When I was in kindergarten, we had all these letters and they had cute little faces and cute little uniforms, and they taught us what Mr. M sounds like. And Mr. O sounds like, and all these different letters. We learned the sounds. You're telling me that as a parent, you can't give that hidden knowledge to your kids? And as teachers, you guys can't reinforce that? This seems really crazy. It's almost as if the parents don't quite care, and it's almost as if the teachers aren't quite talented enough. I just don't understand it. My teachers, God bless them, they were talented human beings, and we never gave them credit for it. If you're in your 40s or 50s and you learned how to read and write and add and subtract like I know you guys did, we got to give a standing ovation to our teachers. They found a way to get us to learn, and we did it. I don't understand this world we live in.
The dumbing down of America is in full progress.
Amen.
Everything that you know and love, technology-wise, social media, streaming services, music, everything that keeps you entertained,
distracted.
It's like it's making you dumber. They call these smartphones because they smart, but they making us dumber.
Right.
People don't know how to use critical thinking skills anymore. People are just followers.
Yeah.
They like being told what to do, how you're supposed to think, what you're supposed to believe, what group to get into. People, no one wants to feel left out. Everybody wants to be a part of something. That's good and bad. That's good and bad. Let's keep them distracted from the real world problems. Hey, don't think about the real world problems. Don't think about the problems that we're not solving for you. Hey, we'll give you cheap food. We'll give you all this entertainment. Yeah. Find a means of escapism. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing. I don't know.
Parents, I'm going to tell you something that no one ever does. But if you think about this, if your child is having a lot of problems, with school, outside of special ed, because if your child's in special ed, then obviously it's a tougher, more challenging situation. But if your child is in the gen ed class, if you really want their education and their scores to improve, you need to start with the man or woman in the mirror. It really does start with you. If your life depended on it, on him or her getting good grades, you would find a way for them to get straight A's. If you got $1 million by the time they graduated high school, you would find a way for your kids to get straight A's. I'm going to give you a challenge, parents. The teachers and the schools can't get it done. Your kids are totally distracted. No one's going to force them to take away their phones, but you. You've got to pull away their phones. Don't wait until it's a law or some rule at the school. Take away their phones. Make sure that learning and getting good grades is something that's important to you as their parent. And before you know it, your kids will be going off to college and thanking you because they can read. With that being said, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you hit subscribe. Come again tomorrow. We'll watch some more videos together. Go read a book. I'll see you tomorrow.